Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. So in today's video, we are going to be sharing with you tips for international students looking to come to the UK to study. So if you are an international student or a prospective international student in the UK, then you need to watch this to the very end. Please make sure to like this video and leave a comment in the comment section. Don't worry if any of your question is not covered, just leave it in the comment section and we'll get right into it. By the way, if we are just meeting, my name is Victoria Ajadi, and on this channel I share my Niger lifestyle in UK. So if you like any of my content, make sure to hit on the subscribe button and tap the notification bell beside it. And on the channel today, I've got with me OLUBUKOLA TV, who is a fellow vlogger, a friend, and a fellow colleague. So we are going to be trashing out your questions and your concerns about coming over to the UK to study. Keep watching. Okay, so one of the questions that a lot of people have about coming into the UK, especially as international students, is the cost of living in the United Kingdom. So what do you think about that, Buki?
Right, I think in comparison to Nigeria, well, you can't compare it. It's a tad bit more expensive living in the UK as compared to living in Nigeria. Because in Nigeria, well, we earn Naira. So in a way, I want to believe that we spend what we earn. But here, to think that, especially if you want to eat African foods and you want to maintain all of those things, the cost of shipping, bringing those things to the UK and all of that, and they would have to obviously put their own gain, it makes it more expensive, really. Then things like rentals, I want to believe is a bit, expensive renting in the UK as well. It depends on what part of the UK you live in anyway. So, and that is why some people prefer the low cost areas, anywhere outside of London or, its outskirts. So I think that's, pretty much it around cost of living. So we've talked about food, we've talked about where to live. What else can you think of?
Okay, so in to put it all together, I would say for renting as a student, actually there are student accommodations, and on the average a student accommodation for a month costs around £500 on the average. And let's say you love your African food so much and you want to be eating African food every month, let's say for groceries you spend about £100 or £50, between let's say £50 and £75 on food and groceries. Then transportation, you spend about £50 on transportation in a month, depending on how far or near your place is from your school, or whatever. Let's just say 50. That's going to around £625 already. And let's say you want to buy other stuffs. Now the accommodation is all inclusive, so you are not paying for any other bills. But let's say you are paying for phone bills and some other little things, let's say another £50. That is roughly around £700. Now, plus or minus, don't take this as the ultimate cost of living in the UK, but as a student you will likely spend around that £700 in the UK.
And the baby is here. Right, so we're just going to be moving on. We've been able to talk about the cost of living in the UK. We touched base on rentals, groceries, and your bills and all of that. And if you've got any questions, if there is anything that we haven't mentioned, please drop them in the comment section for us, or the description box, please.
Yeah, so the next question that a lot of people have is the issue of, are students allowed to work in the UK?
Right, that I know of, yes, you're allowed to work in the UK the last time I checked. However, there are some restrictions, and that is because they don't want anything to tamper with your studies, which is the primary reason you've come to the UK. And remember, you will be on a tier 4 visa, so it's a student visa. So if you want to work, say you want to do extra work just to sustain yourself, then you have to work at the most 20 hours per week. So at the moment there is a lift on that cap, only because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So they are being considerate that people need to feed their family, cost of living, it has affected everybody. And also because they've noticed that oftentimes tier 4 students work as healthcare assistants in the hospital. I want to believe that they've thought of it from that point of view as well, that when they get more healthcare assistants on board in the hospital, there'll be more hands on deck. So I want to believe that was one of the reasons. I don't know, but I'm just assuming that must have been one of the reasons they lifted the 20 hours ban during the 20 hours cap during the COVID-19 pandemic. So once it goes back, they will let you know. Just keep your eyes out.
Okay, so now we know that students can actually work in the healthcare system. So what other kinds of work are available for students, I mean international students, when they get to the UK, and what is like the per hour, you know, range of how much they actually get paid?
Right. So because you're on a tier 2 visa, and we've talked about the restriction point of view, normally you can't work like some person that is on a tier 4 visa, or some person that is not on a study visa, if you get what I mean. So for that reason, you're often limited to say healthcare assistant jobs in the hospital or in the care home or nursing homes. And you can also pick up shifts or register with agencies that recruit for factories. So you can work in, say, Amazon factories, you know, Wilco, Argos and the likes. And also I find that some people work as what do they call them, attendants at the till. So say Tesco, as you know, at the till. Some people work as securities as well at night. They pick up security jobs just to make ends meet. So well, there is dignity in labor, whichever one you can find. And speaking of the hourly rate, oftentimes that I know of, they range between £8 and £10. So that is often the range. So they'll let you know what it will be exactly. And remember, just so you know, as somebody coming to the UK, that it is negotiable. So should they mention a price and you think that a friend of yours gets something higher than that, with the same agency, just try to talk.
Can always negotiate. Don't be afraid, you know, don't be scared to negotiate. Don't just say, oh, this is what they said they will give me, and just accept it. You have the right to negotiate. So negotiate.
That's right.
Okay, then moving on. The next question is fun places to visit in the UK, because really you're probably coming alone, you're not coming with your family, you're coming alone, and it can get boring sometimes. So where are the fun places to visit in the UK?
Right. Speaking of boring, I would say that boringness is subjective, is relative. It depends on how you can just create your own fun, really. But speaking of what's it called, where you can visit, we have museums, we have parks. In an average town or city has a park, as they call it, I'm trying to, like a leisure park, something like that. You can visit what's it called, something like the metro center. So like a huge metro center. You can visit friends, you can have garden parties, you know, if there are no restrictions where you live. We have the COVID-19 out at the moment. You can just create your own fun, put your ears out for when there is a party happening somewhere. And when you mingle with people from church, so you have to be careful sometimes. You could, you know, form an ally through that and begin to attend functions through that.
So right now I'm going to be sharing with you. On the screen you'll see pictures, or on the card area you'll be able to see the link to check out the fun places to visit in UK. Actually, it depends on where you are, but for me, those are the places that I've visited since I came into UK. And Google is your friend. Like most of the things we are talking about in this video, and the ones we still be talking about transportation, Google is your best friend in a foreign land. Just Google it and you'll be able to find a lot of places depending on your location.
That's very right. That's totally right. And before we move on, something just came to my head when we spoke about the cost of living, as well as the rates for if you begin to work. So speaking of cost of living, I don't know if we mentioned earlier that it depends on where you live.
It depends on where
remember
you live.
Remember to inquire that before you choose your university choice. And also speaking of hourly rates, if you want to get a job, so if you want to work as a healthcare assistant, oftentimes you can get a course, they call it violence and aggression. So with that violence and aggression course, the agency recruiting you would put the cost together. They'll ask you to pay, and once you pay for it, they would normally call you for shifts in mental health hospitals. So you would earn more, you'd normally earn more than £10. Oftentimes they earn as much as £15, and it's even dependent on your location. There are some places in London that earn healthcare assistants that have got violence and aggression trainings earn £30 per hour.
Wow.
So it depends on it depends on where you live, but you know that London is a high cost area, so they tend to pay them more.
Yeah, it is.
So just put your ears down and speak to us, so you can ask Victoria Ajadi or ask myself any questions you've got particularly.
Just leave them in the comment section. The next question is tips for transportation, because of course you need to transport yourself from your place of abode to your place of studying or your place of work. So what tips do you have for us for transportation?
Right, to start with, it's good to know the modes of transportation or the means of transportation. So we have train, we have bus, and you can take a taxi if you want. And Victoria will tell us more about them, like buying the tickets. Also, if you want, you can buy a cheap car. So there are cars that are just £500. They may have gone, like the mileage would have gone so high, but then if it's just to commute yourself to go shop for things and all of that, why not? So you can get a cheap car. The only time you need to be in the UK for a while and you have a credit score to buy a car is if you want to buy a car on finance. However, if it's just a car where you'll be dropping your cash to the seller, I wouldn't think you would need all of those things. So you can just get a car. However, before you drive in the UK, well, just a quick one first. So if you normally drive in Nigeria, wherever it is you come from, the first year of your being in the UK, you can use your license from back home. Whatever license you used to drive around back home, it is still valid here for the first year. So before it expires, within the first year, it is often advisable that you do your theory test and you do your practical test, driving test here. And once you get it done, you can then continue to drive. So while you're here and you've still got your international license, driver's license, you can just quickly get a cheap car, and that saves you calling taxis or jumping buses or looking for the train times. However, if for whatever reason you can't buy your car, say the cheap car, then it's good to know the other means or the other methods to go about it. So Victoria would enlighten us about that, please.
So the major routes, the major way for transportation is by bus, and it is so easy for you to actually go on the bus, except for sometimes there may be bus lateness and buses not showing up and all that, but overall it is still okay. So talking about transportation for people who do not have a car or do not have the means, of course the bus is, you can use the bus, you can use the train, and if the location is not so far away, if buses are available, of course you take a bus. And it is important for you, or much more, what's the word, conservative, for you to actually buy your bus passes on a weekly or monthly basis. This way you get to save a lot of money on transportation, and then you can get disappointed with bus timing and all that. So get your mind prepared that there are times when you miss buses, there are times when buses will not show up, so you'll have to find another means or something like that. But overall it's still, you've got no choice.
We have the train as well. So with the train, you can also buy it in advance. I remember when I was living in London, I would always, buy a weekly pass, and there are monthly passes as well for the train. And you can also call a taxi. So if it's a cold winter night and there is no bus around or something, you can just call a taxi.
We'll be ready to spend.
Oh, definitely.
Then I don't know if I've mentioned this, but you really need to Google your friends. Sometimes you want to go, especially when you are new in a place, you want to go from point A to point B and you don't know where you are supposed to alight from the bus. It's good for you to have your Google map. It's very, very important. You have it, you input your present location and where you are going, and it will be directing you every step of the way, and when you should actually alight, it will tell you should alight. And that is a very good feature of Google Map that I really appreciate. So the next question is, how do international students go about buying cars or buying houses in the UK? Is it even possible? And if it's possible, how do they go about it?
Right. So speaking of buying a car, we've talked about that earlier when we're talking about modes of transportation. So as a student, normally if you want to buy a big car, say cars on finance, cars that are say way over £5,000, you would need a credit score because your lender would want to know how credible you are. So it is good that you have a good credit score and you begin to build it. Victoria has done a video on credit score, how to build your credit score. We will put a link, like a card above, either left or right, and we'll put a link in the description box as well.
Yep.
So as you get to the UK, get yourself registered on the electoral poll. That's one of the very important things to do, and just watch Victoria's video and just take it off from there. And if there's any question following watching the video, please let us know as well. So that's it with credit score and how it affects your buying a car. Also credit score applies when you want to buy a house as well. So the way it works is that you can't buy a house if you don't have a credit rating. So it is good that you begin to build it. So after school, should you want to stay back, if you're a nurse or whatever you are, should you want to do some certifications and stay back, you would know that you've started your credit building, so you can then do it that way. Another way is if you probably get some of this SIM only contracts, if they'll let you do it, or if you've got somebody that can do it, then they will then transfer it onto your name after a while, things like that, you see. So you can ask us questions around
and
that.
I know that Bukola also had a video about that.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll be linking that also in the description
That's
box
very
below.
correct. So I've got a video on if you want to buy a house, things to know around mortgages, buying a house in the UK.
Yeah.
We'll leave that in the description box for you as well.
Thank you very much. So the last question that I have here is what are the things to actually bring over? Like, what are the things to pack when you are coming into the UK? I've also made a kind of little video about that, and you can check it out in the description box also. But Buki, what do you think? Like, when an international student, especially a Nigerian, is coming into the UK as a student or as a professional, what do you think? What are the basics that people should actually have in their luggages when coming over?
Right. So speaking of coming over, I think it's good we touch base on your luggage sizes. So people wonder what they should carry. So before you then begin to pack things in. So you should normally check with your airline. So whatever airline you bought, Emirates, KLM, whichever one. So whatever they've said. But the standard oftentimes is 223 kgs. That's 46 altogether. They often prefer it when you make it 23, but however, if you can't make it 23, you can make it say 27, then the rest in the other
best
one.
is just for you to check your airline's policy.
That's
what
right.
they want.
That's right. So because we are then talking about how you can pack it, so it's good we tell you how to go about packing it as well. Then you can get a weighing scale. There are some portable ones that are the hangable ones, or you can use a normal weighing scale that you would use to check your weight, to check the size of the things you are putting in your bag. Or maybe when you are done, putting the things in the bag, you then put your bag on the weighing scale, if you get what I mean. So that's it about luggage sizes, and you get 5 kilograms of hand luggage as well.
Between 5 and 7 kg.
That's right. Some airlines, like Victoria said, it's good to check. Some airlines will tell you that your handbag, is part of your hand luggage. If you get what I mean. Oh, so sorry about that. So your handbag is part of your hand luggage. So for those of you that carry a very big handbag or a backpack, you'd never know. So make sure you check, please. So that's it with the luggage sizes. So speaking of what to then put inside it, it is good to bring most of your African attires, because you normally get ready to wear, but they're a tad bit expensive and they are not readily available all of the time. So if you can get your African wears, then all of the foodstuffs that you can think of, your beans, crayfish, ajadi, that's dry fish. So if they let you bring dry fish, you need to be careful about the dry fish. Make sure you wrap it well. So just so the smell doesn't get out. Some people wrap palm oil as well in the bottle, wrap it well as well.
I remember doing that when I was coming. I first of all put it inside. They said freeze it, let it freeze. I know that even before I left the airport, the freezing point will have dropped. But you just wrap it well, so that I might do another video about that if you want. Just let us know in the comment section.
Okay, that's right. So well, that's just it really. Your locust beans, your Maggi. Some people will bring yam, but yam is quite heavy. I probably won't bring yam. Some people will bring beans and gari. You can just bring a bit of everything. Your local soup, for those of you that have special soups, the ingredients, you know, just bring them. At some point you exhaust them, of course, you still need them. But then till you get yourself settled, it's good you have something to keep you running.
African foods is quite expensive here. Like, it's on the expensive side. Really.
Yeah. You can get them, but when you convert them, they're a tad bit expensive. You can bring a few English dresses, especially if you don't have enough money to get here and begin to buy clothes immediately. You can bring a few English dresses, of course. But what we just mean is you can the African wears are more important. When you go to Primark, like the cheap shops around, you can buy your gowns at affordable rates. And in your hand luggage, please do not put any liquid over 200 mils. If you do, they will take it out. If it is your cream or your perfume, like you buy a brand new perfume that is over 200 mils, they will take it out and you lose it at the airport, especially if you don't have anybody to take it back home for you.
I actually have a very funny story time about that.
Okay.
In the video that I already linked in the description box below, you can check it out.
Okay, then it's good you go watch that video just so you can have a little laugh there. So I've had to lose. I bought some hair products for my people back home when I was going home at some point, and I lost everything. I mean everything.
It can be painful.
It was taken, and I didn't have anybody to take it back to the hostel for me, and it was just so painful. So please be you know, wary of that as well.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you've learned one or two things from all of this. If you still have more questions, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. I'll be linking Bukola's channel in the description box below. So make sure, go ahead, subscribe to our channel because you won't regret it.
That's right.
Make sure that you leave comments on our videos to ask her any questions that you might have. I appreciate you for being here. If you're here to like this video, please give this video a like. Share this video with someone that you know who is preparing to actually come to the UK as an international student or a professional. And please subscribe if you haven't, if you like my content, of course, and share my video. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you in my next one.
Bye.
And on the video today, and on the channel today, I've got with me OLUBUKOLA who is a fellow vlogger, a friend, and a fellow colleague.
This video is dedicated to you students or to you in